Welcome to episode 7 of Rhinex Students Above and Beyond. I'm Valerie Feit, the K-12 Enrichment Coordinator for the Rhinex District. Above and Beyond is an opportunity for you to meet some of the accomplished young people in our community who are also our future leaders. Our guest today is Billy Stetson. He's in the 11th grade and a member of the varsity track team. This year, Billy participated in Tools for Change, a social science research project on voting attitudes in our area. He did this research under the direction of Duke University's sociology professor, Dr. William Tobin. For 2 years, Billy has been a student in Rhinex High School's Independent Learner Program. And he is focused on entrepreneurship. So welcome, Billy.
It's great to be here.
Billy, you've been an entrepreneur for a long time.
Yes.
I think it goes way back. What was the first entrepreneurial project that you undertook?
Well, I'd have to say it was back when I was very, very young, and I would set up a lemonade stand like most other kids, but I did it a little bit differently. What I did is my dad and I, when we were younger, and my sister was also a little bit involved, we created this lemonade stand cart, which was actually mobile, so we could almost move to the market. And we moved to this 8th Street intersection in my residential area and started to sell lemonade there.
So you already knew that you needed to meet the buyer, because most kids are sitting on a lawn and they're like, you know, not selling too much lemonade. So you started to make the lemonade stand work, and then you went into another business, a few years passed.
Yes.
And then you started an Xbox business.
Yes, actually this was over the summer of just after freshman year, and I was working a summer job, and I had some extra time on my hands outside the job because I didn't have too many other responsibilities. So I decided to start a business repairing Xboxes to buy and sell them. So what I did to start this endeavor was I researched Xbox repairs online, and I knew that there's a common problem with the Xboxes on the Microsoft system, that they would overheat and cause a malfunction and they would be unusable. And this is a very, very common problem, amongst many Xboxes across the nation. And one thing about entrepreneurship is you always have to go for a problem in some sort of fashion, fix the problem, and then get the customer to come to you because they want to solve that problem. So that's basically what I did. I found the problem, I found out how to fix it, and I started buying and selling these broken Xboxes over the internet.
So you were doing two things. You were doing a repair and mailing it back.
Yes.
And then you were also doing buying the Xbox and reselling.
Yeah.
What were the venues for this?
I would use two different online venues. I would use the two of them are both known very well, Craigslist and eBay. And these are two very different sources, but they both are the same on the platform, that it's very easy for one person to come in and buy and sell a product or even services without having to have an office space or anything. You can do it from home pretty much.
So that makes it very low in terms of no capital investment.
Yes.
So you were communicating with people on Craigslist.
Yeah, so what I did is I would buy, it depends on the circumstance, but on Craigslist I would either put up an advert that I was buying an Xbox to a broken Xbox. I was either selling a repaired Xbox that I repaired for a fraction of the cost of what I was selling it for, so I'd make a profit there. Or I would take an Xbox from someone there, I would repair it for them and then return it to the person for a fee minus that included my cost of production, and then would also lead to profit.
So that's a direct sale, but
Yes.
eBay's a very different.
Yeah, as I said earlier, they're two very different things, but both are well known. Craigslist is a local distribution primarily, where you just interact with people in your community who are looking to buy or sell these similar products, and you can interact with them. Vice versa, the eBay, which is an online website that most of you guys have heard of, and it's more of where you sell nationwide and maybe even in different countries, and you get a much, much bigger access to customers and sellers and everything, which makes it a competitive market. But also the downfall of eBay is that you have to pay many fees, such as the eBay fee on itself to do that, and the PayPal fee of when you make the sale. So it's a little bit more costly in some aspects than Craigslist. So both of them are two competitive ways of selling product.
When you're doing that and you're trying to assess your profit margin, you must also be looking at the amount of work that goes into it. How much work goes into it?
It depends. Usually it's just the repair itself would take 20 or so minutes. The cost of the things to repair it was relatively low, only like $7 or so, so under $10. And I would return it for the cost of repair, either if I'm repairing it for someone or buying and selling, is about $20 to $30, depending on the situation.
But the time, I mean, that takes time.
Oh yes, it's very hard. This concept of a home business is very different for many people, in the aspect that it's not hard hours put in, because the 20 minutes I spend to repair this Xbox is not nearly the amount of time I put into the business. It's a lot of time of going on Craigslist and posting ads and looking at my email to see if people want it, or picking up the phone or going on eBay and posting things and keep checking it to make sure that if someone's bought it, I can reship it to them quicker so I get good feedback. And there's a lot of different aspects that put time into your...
So your parents, so sort of your time is involved,
yes.
But also you have to have the support of a parent or parents. I know your father's been very helpful to you. What was his interface with, say, something like Craigslist? Because I'm sure parents watching are wondering, like, what a kid was doing on Craigslist.
Well, first of all, both my parents are involved in business, so that's kind of where I got that from. But my father, in the ways of Craigslist, many people think that Craigslist is a dangerous place because you're interacting with people you don't know, while on eBay you're interacting more with people that you don't know, but they also don't know who you are. But in Craigslist, they know who you are, you're going to interact. So that's a common problem for most parents. But my dad was the structure there for me that kind of made that boundary between us, so it wasn't too bad.
So wait, you were pulling the strings on the business and he was doing
Yes.
the communication?
Yeah, I mean, I was still involved in the communication some, but my dad was like the structure, like the symbol, if you will, of the business or the transaction I was involved in. So it was less dangerous on my part. It was more like they're interacting with my father rather than interacting with the young kid who's in high school.
So you were running it and he was being the mouthpiece for the business. That's nice.
Yeah,
so that's
definitely.
nice. But then after a while, the balance between the work and the number of sales must have shifted because the Xbox improved.
Yes.
So there must have been what's next in your mind. And what happened next? I know you're in a program at your school too, so.
Yes, actually, that's an interesting part, the program I'm in right now. So I had done this project over the summer, as I said, in my freshman year, and I wasn't involved with school at all with this. And my mom actually commented to me like, wow, you're doing all this work, you should get school credit for it, or school recognition, or something along those lines. So when I went into school the next year, I had a meeting with my guidance counselors, and I learned about the independent learner program at my school, where they encourage you to go to expand your horizons and give structure to your projects of your decision, not of a structured school project that you normally have. So it's very open and allows you to do a lot of things that you'd like.
So you were still running the Xbox business
Yes.
at that point. And
oh, yeah.
What happened, sort of, what was the transition for you as you joined the program? The program provided some framework.
Oh yes, for what was the next idea in my mind? The program pushed me to do something next, obviously, and because like I need to move along and do a new project and expand my horizons. So the next thing I expanded my horizons to was to online business, and not in the product sales, but more in the marketing and advertising. Not so much for myself, but for other companies, by using Google AdSense, which is one of the most common ways to advertise on websites, which you see all the time with banners and different sorts of logo advertising for other companies. So I decided to design a website where I would talk about Xbox and stuff, and people would come onto my website to access this information. Now, in this situation too, I was creating not necessarily a problem, but a source that my customers would like to come to me. So they would come to me on my website, and I would make money off of these advertisements.
So you're selling essentially information supported by advertising.
Yeah.
So how do you actually make the money? What is the process? People click on the website, and then what happens? Do you make money if they click on the website?
Yes. So what it is Google. You create a Google AdSense account, which you can use a Gmail account or whatever. But it's more involved with your websites in general. So I use the tool to create my website, and creating my website is a major part of this project because technology and business is so intertwined in today's society. So I use the tool called a tool that I could use to create my website named WordPress, and I was able to use plugins to add for Google AdSense to communicate with my website, so that when someone would come to my website, it would create an impression, is what it's called, and each impression I would make a certain amount of money for, and then each time someone would click on one of my ad banners, I would make an additional amount of X money, which is usually in over 10 cents per click on the advertisements, and it can go up to $1 or more depending on the website you have. So it can be very profitable if you get a lot of views.
Wow, that's very clever because you're selling information. There's nothing concrete.
Yeah, there's not a product to sell. So it's there's two different types of businesses: the ones where you're selling products and the ones where you're not selling product and you're making money off of advertising, that such thing. And that's great because you don't have any expenses of cost of production or anything like that. All of it's profit.
Now, I understand that once that website was established, you also did a YouTube channel.
Oh, yes, I did.
So what is the YouTube channel about, and how did it interface with the website?
So this was an addition to my website, and I did YouTube because it's one of the most known things. People go on there all the time to look up guides and videos of the such. And so I decided that I would go into business with my friend Elliot Denenberg, who's also in the Independent Learner Program, and we developed a YouTube channel where we create and post videos of my Xbox and what I'm doing to add to the game and guides and such, so that people could view what I'm trying to tell them in my text on my website, so that it would kind of connect together to make a very cohesive website that would more determine people to come to my website and learn about what I have to say, and then which also at the same time would bring people to my website to generate me money.
So that is one-stop shopping. Essentially, they could become a better gamer and at the same time get information about Xbox and go between the two. Very clever idea.
Thank you.
Very, very clever. Now you must have been at that point trying to figure out, where do you go from there? Because I think the thing I hear the most is it's very difficult for high school students to make money, and you'd already figured out a way to do it. But before I ask you what was next, you must have been a pretty good gamer to have people checking into your YouTube site to learn about it. So just for the record, were you a kid who spent a ton of time playing video games?
At one point during the summers, I had a lot of free time, so I did play a decent amount over that time outside of my work and doing my structured work, and then my at-home business work for doing the Xbox business. So I did play a decent amount, and one question that actually is very controversial that is brought up a lot is, how much should kids play Xbox, and is it a bad thing, and should I do this or do that? And my response to that is really just, as long as it's restricted and it's within moderations, it's fine. Because no matter what, if a student wants to play Xbox, that's where their mind's going to be at some point during the day if they're determined to do that. And if their parents are restricting them, saying, no, you can't do it at all, no, you can't do this, it just makes them upset and less determined to do their work. So if it's with moderation and it's within the guidelines of the parents, so that's in a lenient way almost, it can be beneficial.
So you probably just made some kids in our audience really happy.
Yeah,
so they'll get to play more. But now, once you've done something and you want to learn more and you want to move on, what is the next step?
So after that, I came to another impasse like I did earlier, and it was really what to do next, because in my Independent Learner Program class, as I said earlier, they're making you determined to expand your horizons. And I had already learned about product sales, now online business without the product, and marketing and YouTube and how all that stuff works. And so the next thing I want to do is I want to get a little bit more involved with business, and which I ended up getting involved with a lot with my communication skills. And as I was going through the project and I was like thinking in my head, oh, what do I do next? I decided that I would buy a subscription to Wired magazine, which is both a technological and business type magazine combined. And that's important to me because technology and business are two things that have, in the recent years, have been very intertwined with each other. And if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, that means you're coming up with new business. And new business almost always in today's society has to do with technology.
So you were kind of scanning for ideas.
Yeah.
And did you find ideas?
Yes. So I was reading through one copy of Wired magazine, and I came across this article about Tesla Motors. It's a fully electric car company. It's American, and it's doing a lot of good things to pave our country into the future. And this was spearheaded by a man named Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla Motors. And there's a few, like 3-4 page article, or maybe more, I don't remember, about Tesla and how the company works and how it was the entrepreneurial spirit brought it to where it is today. By Elon, the co-founder of PayPal.
Oh, wow.
He made millions of dollars, which like, just to an entrepreneur like me just sounds, oh my God, you made like millions and millions of dollars off just a web tool that people can use. And like that business too, it has no product, it's all profit. So that really inspired me to learn a little bit more about this. And I was reading through and I learned more about Tesla and I said, all right, I want to do something with Tesla now. What do I do? And so I was talking to my dad about it, and as I said earlier, he's business savvy, and I learned a lot of business from him just in regular world interactions. And we came up with the idea that I would go to New York City and go to Tesla's New York office and talk to the head sales officer there, Michael Sexton, who I would later learn a lot more about.
So this is exciting.
Yeah.
You saw it in a magazine and Wired, and then you made it real by calling and going down.
Yeah.
Did you get to like see the car and touch it? And
Oh yeah, I learned a lot from that experience when I went there. I learned about the car itself. I got to talk to Michael Sexton about what Tesla and what they're doing, and just kind of like getting the real world aspect to the business, not just reading about it. It's a little bit different. And we also got to test drive the car, which is really fun. I mean, this car is fully electric. There's no gasoline in it whatsoever, so it's very revolutionary. But it's also a very pragmatic car going to the future, because today you see a lot of like hybrids or maybe even fully electric cars that have low range, they're low power, and people don't like them because you can't go like on a highway. But this car is completely different from all the others. It's very fast. It's 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. And if you're a car enthusiast, you know that's extremely fast. But all this comes at a price. Unfortunately, currently, the car is like $100,000 the base price, which is almost outrageous. But it's in good fashion, and what the company that's kind of what the company had to do to bring it off its feet and start bringing some hard money from all the technological advances of being fully electric. And what they're basically trying to do is bring the electric cars to consumers today, and that they're starting to do that by coming out with the sedan in 2012. That's like cut down by $40,000. It's a lot cheaper. Going to bring it to the market of a lot more families, especially in this area. And so I would definitely recommend looking up Tesla Motors, and the Model S it's called, fully electric. And it's going to be an amazing car, and I can't wait to see what happens.
They must love you there. You're so excited about it. But there's another part of it. I think that really your passion is connected to the technology, the entrepreneurship, but also because you're very environmental.
Yeah, I'm not a huge outgoing environmentalist, but well, I'd like to say I am, but more of what I am is I like to learn about being environmental and learn about like the new technologies that are coming to today's society about environmental, because I think it's important to preserve our earth and preserve how natural it is today. And so I would look up things about it, and this kind of came in direct contact with what I wanted to find in a project. Because it was the business, it was entrepreneurial and technology, and it was environmental too, because this is a fully electric car, and I think it's great that if we can lean the world more on electric, then we'll definitely be able to improve how the Earth is living, like how we can improve the Earth with the new technologies too.
Yeah, and it just addresses the climate
Yeah.
situation well. But I know that you went beyond this. So you actually took another step with the Tesla car. So tell us what happened.
All right. So as I said earlier, what's next? And so at this point, I was like, what's next? I saw it was cool, but it's not really a project here. So what I did was I decided to contact Michael Stetson, which is where the beginning of my communications came in. The major part of this project that I was working on in the past few months was all about communication, emailing, calling, and I got to learn a lot about it. So I would call up Michael Stetson and I emailed him, and I set up a presentation at the Rhinebeck PTSA Spring Fair, where we showcase the car and showcase how its environmentally benefits to the world, and how it's kind of paving the way into the future of American society and a society across the world, really, that's more environmental.
So you actually got Tesla to bring a car up to Rhinebeck, and people got to see it.
It's kind of funny because this company, it's not some small company. Even it was named like the 4th largest American manufacturer of cars, and that's kind of impressive by itself. But it also went public last June, actually. So you can see like it's a very new company. To go public is a major thing, and with it going public as just a small company with one car, it's pretty amazing what they've done. And so it was really surprising that I could get in communication with the salesman, Michael Stetson. I brought him to the school and we showcased the car to this community.
So there must have been a lot in terms of the communication, pulling the PTSA in and your superintendent, your principal. Was it, and then you had to learn about insurance.
Insurance was a little bit of a tricky thing, and I learned a lot about that and like liabilities in general, but communication was very important over this whole thing, keeping up with my deadlines, when the insurance was due, when like other forms and agreements were due. It was a big deal that I learned that was very important to stay on top of your game with all that. And the communication was just almost crazy. I'd never like done it before. I went from like reading my email like once a month, maybe once a week, like I don't know. And then I went to like actually getting on my phone and like replying like within the school day and keeping up to date and making all these very important phone calls to keep this project up and running, which is almost a little bit of a challenge because of the restrictions.
Well, you're a full-time student, so it's pretty cool. So that was a huge chunk, was being professional and responsive. So I hate to ask you this because we're kind of getting toward the end here, but then you had another idea. So it's my turn to say, so then what's next?
So after I had done this Tesla presentation, I look forward to staying in further communication with Michael Stetson. But I also, now I need a new platform to move my project, and I actually am moving it to create a new business of my own. And this is not a small little home business anymore. My dad and he's a very experienced businessman, and he's still like fumbling over the idea of this becoming a reality. And I'm creating a business where we're going to use the use of QR codes, and it's getting a little technical, so I won't go too far into it. But it's using New World technologies, and we're creating an app on the app market and a website, and bringing a lot of my skills that I've learned from the past into one project, which I hope will become a reality.
Wow. Wow, it's really impressive. It's such a journey, you know, from the lemonade stand to, you know, young internet entrepreneur. I know all adults ask this, and it's just one of those things, but what's in your future?
I'm looking forward to going to a college in the future, obviously, and I would like to expand my industrial engineering, my communication skills, and my business skills. I don't know how it's going to work out yet, but I definitely look forward to furthering my education and getting into the real world.
Wow, Billy, I think this is an incredible story. This is a lot of fun talking to you. Well, that's our show for now. To see previous episodes of Rhinebeck Students, you can go to LMC-TV's website, click Videos on Demand, Single and Series, and then Above and Beyond. I want to thank our producer and director, Remy Litvin, a 10th grade student at Rhinebeck High School, the LMC-TV staff, and our wonderful volunteer crew. My name is Valerie Feit, and please join us again when I look forward to introducing you to another student who goes above and beyond.